It's just all about love and life and living in freedom. That's what it's all about for me now.
Welcome to the Rich Spinster podcast. This is Alexis, and I am grieving today. I am grieving the passing of Malcolm-Jamal Warner at the age of 54. Theo, y'all, Theo, let me tell you what happened. So I've been traveling and I was in an airport when I got the news of his passing. And it took everything in me to not completely scream. I just felt so overwhelmed, so full of sadness. I felt this loss in such a personal way. And what I also understand is that so many are feeling this loss because, especially for Black America, Theo was our brother. He was our friend. He was our favorite cousin. He was, for many, their first crush. Theo was family. And by extension, Malcolm-Jamal Warner became family to all of us. I was thinking on the plane about all of just the iconic Cosby Show episodes. Of course, we all know the 49th anniversary of the grandparents, that classic Cosby episode in which Theo's character starts off the lip syncing portion. And I can see him now with the coat and the hat. I think about when Claire was trying to teach Theo a lesson and she moved all of his stuff out. And she was, I think her name was Francine or something like that. And she was working for Furniture City. Furniture City. The Dance Mania episode. I think about the episode of The Cosby Show when Theo and Cockroach and their friends were taking their girlfriends to prom in a helicopter. I think about Mrs. Westlake. Remember Mrs. Westlake when Theo was freaked out about having her for math? Remember when Theo fished out a whole dead body? I mean, these were classic Cosby Show episodes, and I love them. The most famous Theo scene slash episode was the Gordon Gartrell episode. He was like, Denise! I can see Denise sitting on the bed. I can see her sitting on the bed looking stressed out. He comes in that Gordon Gartrell knockoff. And she was like, "You don't like it?" He's like, "Ask me that question again." Yo, that episode was crazy. And do you all remember that one Cosby episode when Theo had messed up in his relationship and he was on the couch being encouraged by his dad to express his feelings, and Theo sat there and Theo said, Justine, Justine. I loved the Cosby Show so much as a kid, and I know for many of you that is what we did. We watched the Cosby Show on Thursday night on NBC at 8 o'clock. And in the early days, Cosby was followed by Family Ties, which I also loved. I did love Alex P. Keaton. But it was The Cosby Show. The Cosby Show was so special to me because not only did they show this Black family on television, but it was the first memory of a Black family that I had on television that was not struggling financially. And as a person who grew up not struggling financially, there were a lot of characters on shows like I couldn't relate to when the kids were talking about dad being out of a job and all of those things, even though I loved watching those episodes and I love seeing Black people on television, period. As a child, it was the first time that I saw a Black family that represented all of the Black families that I knew and whose characters were representative of my friends and my neighbors. And The Cosby Show felt like home on Thursday night. And it's one of those things when you grow up with a show like that. And by the way, I have seen The Cosby Show on rerun. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times. I actually own all of the episodes and I still watch, and nothing has ever turned me away from The Cosby Show. But what I loved about The Cosby Show was that it showed a range of Black life, but also you never had any doubt about who that family was. You never had any doubt about that family's tie to their culture. Like, we have this doctor and this lawyer, and what are they playing? What music are they playing? They're playing jazz, they're playing blues, they're bringing in jazz greats and icons to guest on the show. There was never any doubt about the past because there were so many episodes where they talked about how things were during segregation, things especially for Black soldiers. I remember a particular episode, them talking about that. And even the nuances that our culture understands were integrated as a part of that show. There is nothing that could ever get me to not love and appreciate The Cosby Show for what it was to me and to so many of us. So I am grieving today. I am really grieving today because it seems so unfair. I think that's the first thing that I thought. This is unbelievable. And then I thought, this is unfair. I was so angry. This stopped me in my tracks. I loved that character so much. And that meant I loved Malcolm-Jamal Warner so much. He was always Theo to me. He was Theo to me. And Theo reminded me of, honestly, like my brother and my brother's friends. Do you remember the Stevie Wonder episode when and they were recording them in studio as they waited for Stevie and he was like jamming on the one and they just kept like playing it? There's just so many Cosby Show episodes that are just a part of who I am. Lest we forget Vanessa going to see The Wretched. She was going to have big fun going to see The Wretched. I even remember the one episode where Claire, what did he do? So Theo, I think he was picking on a girl in line or something, and the coach got angry with Theo and Cockroach, and he made them get out of line. And Claire was getting to the bottom of it, and she did this whole court. She did this whole trial to get to the bottom of the truth. Ah, Joe Williams, Lena Horne, BB King, so many people, so many icons made guest appearances on that show. And so today, I thought, well, I need to drop a podcast today. And I'm getting rid of what I was going to talk about today. And I just wanted to speak from the heart about it. I just wanted to just pay homage to such an icon, such a beloved figure in our community. And you know what it really tells me? And this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately. And in 6 years, I have had 12 losses. 12. And when I think about that, and I think about other challenges that I or people that I'm close to have experienced during that time and are still experiencing now. And then I hear a story like this, it just reminds me, live your life and live your life now. Don't wait to live it. Don't wait till this gets better or this situation gets better. Don't wait till you have a better job in order to live it. Don't wait until you have more money in order to live your life. Don't wait until the time is just right, because the time is right now. This is all that you are promised. And I was thinking about that as I was flying last night, and how so many times in life little shit can drive you crazy. It could fill you with rage, little things. And so much so that it could just really just consume you. Fight against that. You have to fight against that and fight for your life, because this is it right now. And I think one thing that going through a lot of loss does teach you, if it doesn't break you, is how absolutely precious every moment is, how fragile our existence here really is. One moment you can speak to someone, and the next minute they can be gone. I know this personally. I suffered a recent loss of someone extremely close to me, and I spoke with her 3 hours before she died. 3 hours. I just want you to think about that. 3 hours before she passed away, we were on the phone. And the next thing I know, I'm getting word of her unexpected passing. I don't take those things lightly. I also think there is a different view of life that I have now that I no longer have parents. The parents who raised me are now both gone. And when you no longer have your parents and you start to no longer have the people who knew you when you were a child. See, my upbringing was a little different. We were legally adopted by our maternal grandparents, and they were our parents. So their friends and all of their peers were the people we considered maybe aunts and uncles. Those were the people that we knew. However, for most of our peers, they would be their grandparents' friends, not parents' friends. So most of the people that knew me well when I was a child, almost all of them are gone now. And that causes you to feel differently about life, differently about your life, and how you live it, and the people that you love and the people that you allow in it, and how you embrace things and how you experience things, because you understand that this is all temporary. Joys are temporary, but sorrow is also temporary. This journey in general is temporary. And I refuse I refuse to give up another day. Jennifer Lewis, the mother of Black Hollywood, talks a lot about how, I don't know what age she was, but she said that she only had so many summers left. And she refuses to give anybody her summers. I feel that deeply. There are things that I had time for before that I no longer have time for. There are people and situations that I would make space for that I no longer make space for, because I understand intimately how precious and how short this journey is. And the older you get, the shorter the days ahead are. And I don't take that shit for granted. But there came a point, and I think it was last year, because it has been just over a year since my mother has passed away. But I think with the passing of her, I absolutely understood what was the most important thing in my life. The most important thing in your life are the people who love you and who you love back. And the more time you can spend with them, the more you can talk to them, the more you can touch them. Those are the things that matter the most in the end. And I am committed to living my life like it is the end every day, every single day. What can I do to experience this day to the fullest? And like, listen, I understand, like, we talk about this a lot. A lot of people say these things, but like, it is a job in itself to have control over your mind in a way where you can focus on experiencing the day. That means putting the fucking phone down sometimes. Quit your job. Find something else to do that excites you. And even if it doesn't excite you, find something else to do that is less stressful. You know what? When I was recently traveling, I stopped by one of my sorority sisters' homes, and we had this great conversation about work and life and priorities. We both have had career shifts in the past year, and we both understand that that was the best thing that we could have done for ourselves. If you were in a job and every day is stress, and you are not able to express yourself or are not able to live have a personal life, even if your life is work and you don't want it to be, know that it doesn't have to be that way. Leave that job as soon as you can. If you can leave today, do it. I worked in an extremely stressful environment. And then as time went on, as things got more stressful at work, I started going more inward. And so, with all of the losses that I experienced in the past 6 years, I was just no longer willing to take any shit anymore. I was no longer willing to act like everything was okay when it was not okay. I was no longer willing to listen to bullshit. I chose myself. I chose myself because I said, I can't get any of those people back. None. I can't get any of those people back. Not one day can be returned. And here I am giving up my days and nights, and most importantly, my peace to a job. And I was no longer willing to put my life on the back burner. And I say all of this to say, if you can leave, choose yourself. Choose yourself. And if you can't leave a job that's harming you, then find ways to take care of yourself. And when you can, get into a place that feels better for you and for your spirit. I was always taught, just like most of us, well, you graduate from school and you go to college and then you get a good job and you get good benefits and you stay at that job. And the goal ultimately is to make a lot of money. Gotta make a lot of money. That's success. And that is what I thought for very a long time in my life, that really making money was success. And then I thought when I was about 30, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to work in this corporate environment, in this freaking cubicle. I can't do this my whole life. My whole life, I'm supposed to be working in this cubicle next to Betty? And for what? So I can have weekends free, so I can have 48 hours of peace. And it's really not 48 hours of peace because you spend the last 24 of that 48 thinking about the next day, which is Monday. I knew that that's not a life that I wanted to live. And I wanted my life to be mine. I wanted to wake up in the mornings and, have a slow wake up and maybe take 2 hours to drink my coffee and then maybe go for a walk and then read a book and then maybe go see a film that day. Like I just wanted to live my life, and I didn't see a lot of examples of that. But yo, I quit my job anyway. I quit my corporate job when I was 30 and I've never gone back to a corporate job. I worked for myself, had an art project, worked at some nonprofits, fell into being a political lobbyist. And I think about that in that journey, and what do I want the rest of my life to look like now in terms of working? And all I know is that I will never give up my life for a job, ever. A successful life for me honestly looks like being in my home, having food to eat, being able to talk to and hug the people that I love, being able to laugh with them and spend time with them. That's all. That's all that I need at this point in my life for the rest of my life. I have all of the Louis Vuitton I could possibly want. And I think what it is too is like once you start making a certain amount of money in your life, you realize like, oh, I can get pretty much everything that I want. If I want a new car, I can just go buy a car. If I want a designer bag, I can get a designer bag. If I want to go on a trip, I can go on a trip. And like once you start doing that, I think you do look at life differently. You look at life in terms of like what now? What now? Is this really it? Am I really working so that I can purchase this luxury item? Is this what it is about? And you start to understand that all of those things are nothing. Listen, as much as I love my freaking Loewe puzzle bag, right? It doesn't deserve the value that we give it in society. So many of these things that we desire, so many positions that we admire, they are not worth the value that we give it as society. So, something that was really inspiring for me was recently I went to this nursery, and this is a plant nursery, and there was a little apartment, I guess, connected to it, but the man who lived in the apartment, he owned the nursery. And I went there and I saw like plants were everywhere, and he created this outside haven, and there were quotes everywhere that you looked. There were quotes by Buddha, Sagan. I mean, you name it. There were quotes everywhere, and he had hammocks hanging from the ceiling and he had signs that said, you know, if the door is closed, please be quiet. It means that George is sleeping, but this is your space 24 hours a day. Please come in, be welcomed here. And I couldn't believe it that this man had essentially opened his business slash home to the public for people to just go there and to be. And when I heard about it, I was like, let me see this. And I went there and I absolutely loved it. But this is what I loved the most. So the owner, he came out. When he came out, I said, I love this place. Thank you so much for opening this place to the public. Like, this is nirvana. And he said, you're welcome. And I'm glad that you like it. He said, you know, I used to be a rich judge. I was a judge for a long time, and I lost everything in my divorce. I lost everything. And basically, he wanted to just live his life and be happy. And he created this space, and people go there. They go there, they may smoke a joint there in the hammock and just are quiet and surrounded by plants. He changed his entire life and said, I'm just going to live it at this point. I'm going to live it. I'm going to be free. I'm going to be easy. So seeing someone who had this beautiful, you know, home he used to live in and all of these cars and all of this wealth, seeing that he changed his life, he simplified it, and has never been happier. That's everything. You work every day to get that paycheck. You spend every dime of that paycheck. You know why you spend every dime of that paycheck? Not just on bills. You spend every dime on that paycheck because you get a high from spending. And then you just have to work more and you spend more and buying shit that you really don't need. So people just work and work and work, also that they can buy a Gordon Gartrell. That's not life. That is imprisonment. I think about my worst day at a job, my very worst day at a job. I was literally physically sick. I was sick because I wanted to curse a motherfucker out. I was sick. And why was I sick? Because I had to hold it in. Because what I wanted to do was curse his ass out. I wanted to curse this man out so badly. And not just him, I wanted to curse his mother too for having him. I wanted to curse him out, the bitch who had him, and the bitch who had that bitch. I wanted to curse out generations of people. That's how bad it was. And I was physically ill because I was stopping myself from doing it. And then I had to think, why am I stopping? I wanted to curse his ass out so badly and I didn't do it. Why? Because I had to remain professional. You have to remain professional, but I wanted to curse his ass out. So I was inspired by George recently. I was like, you know what? I need to sell my house, sell everything that I own, get a tiny little place, and open like a little meditation spot and just live there. I've often said I really wanted to get like airstream, an airstream across the country for a year. The only problem with that is like I'm really not. I'm not outdoorsy, and I don't know what that would look like. I do not know what driving in, and maybe I need a sponsorship. Airstream, come holla at your girl. Let sponsor me to go across country for a year to discover America in an Airstream at all of the different parks. That would be phenomenal and that would be absolutely hilarious. I guess my biggest piece of advice, if I have any advice at all, is to don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself to these jobs, to these careers. Sometimes you have to dream a different dream for your life. And if you dream that different dream for your life, to have the courage to do that, doors open that you would have never imagined. And those doors are not to another job. Those doors are the doors to you, the doors to yourself, to finding the deeper parts of yourself, to exploring parts of yourself that you don't have the time or energy to explore. You know why? Because your ass is tired. Don't give more to a career than you give to yourself, because at the end of the day is going to end. I want to always live a life that I don't need a vacation from. I want to live a life that I don't need an escape from. I learned so much from just being in there for 15 minutes, from just walking around and reading the quotes that were hanging everywhere. He had this giant picture, and it's a picture that I've seen before, but he had it mounted up and it showed our galaxy and it had an arrow and it says, "You are here." And when you look at your life in that way and look at this little dot of a planet where you are residing, it puts things in perspective. So if you're feeling like you are at the end of a rapidly fraying rope at your job, know that there's an other side to that. And that other side is called life. Go find it, y'all. Go live it. Thank you for listening to the Rich Spinster podcast. And this week, living your life and maybe watching reruns of The Cosby Show. Rest in peace, Malcolm-Jamal Warner.